All right, for today's lesson, which you guys will do mostly in Desmos, what we're looking at is what is the probability of each color when you look at something like this, which is what we call a spinner. And what I want you to imagine is that we've got kind of an arrow like this that can spin around and around and around and around. And right now, that arrow is landing on red. This whole big section here is red, whereas this section over here would be blue. So right now, we've got a red. If it landed kind of like this, then you'd get a blue. So the question is just what is the probability of each color? So the probability of blue, if we're looking at this section, it looks almost like it's been kind of cut into 4 equal sections, and in fact it has. And one of those 1, 2, 3, 4 sections is blue, so the probability is 1 out of 4. Or if you want to divide 1 divided by 4, you get 25 hundredths. This is about 25%. It's exactly 25%. And then, of course, the probability of red is going to be that we have 1, 2, 3 sections of 4 sections that are red, and so our probability is 75%. Hopefully that's fairly straightforward. Please let me know if you're stuck on this. Because really what we're interested in today is moving beyond that basic probability problem and saying, okay, here's spinner 1. It is 1/4 blue and it is 3/4 red, which I have noted over here. You'll notice I wrote blue with a little 1 here, where it's a B1, and then R1, that's red 1, so it just refers to the first spinner. Same thing for spinner 2, but this time instead of the tinier portion being blue, the smaller portion is red. And the question that we're going to ask is, if I spin both spinners, what's more likely? The colors on spinner 1 matches the color on spinner 2, or that they will not match? So blue would be a match, whereas blue red would not be a match. So what we need to do is we need to go through what are all of the possibilities. And what I mean by that is how many different outcomes are there? And I would argue that we've got several possibilities. If I land on blue 1, so I get blue over here, then I'm either going to get blue 2 or red 2. So I could get blue 2 or I could get blue 1 and red 1 or red 2. I could, of course, get red 1 to begin with, in which case I could end up with red 2, or I could get blue 2. So these are my 4 different options. If you want another way of viewing that, you could also say, okay, when I first spin, I either get red 1 or I get blue 1. And let's say I got blue 1 first, then when I spin the second spinner, I'm either going to get red 2 or blue 2. And of course, down here I could get red 1 first and then blue 2, or red 1 first and then red 2. But these are not all equally likely paths, right? If I go along this path, it's not the same as if I went along this path. So let's figure out what the actual probabilities are. Well, the probability of getting blue 1 is we've got 1/4 and blue 2 is 3/4. So what I would do is I would mark that this path is 1/4 of the time, this path is 3/4 of the time, and that means that my total probability is going to be 1/4 times 3/4, which is 3 out of 16, and if you divide that, you will get that that is 0.1875, which is 18.75%. If we instead took blue 1 and red 2, this has a probability of 1/4, so that's less likely to happen than I go up this path. This is less likely to happen. I would get 1/4 times 1/4, which is equal to 1 out of 16, which is actually exactly 0.0625, or 6.25%. So what I would encourage you to do right now is see if you can fill out this part without me. Pause the video for just a second and I will just wait. Pause. Okay, cool. Okay, so what you should end up getting there is 56.25% or 18.75%. Also fine to say 9/16 and 3/16. And something I do want to point out real fast here is that if you took 3/16 plus 1/16, that's 4, so 3 and 1 is 4, plus another 9 would get you up to 13/16, but 3/16, you would get a sum of 16/16. Same thing will happen if you add up 1875, 625, 5625, 1875. You will get 100%. So these are all of our probabilities. But we've not yet answered our question here of like, does it match or does it not match? Which is the most likely scenario? Well, to match here, so we want, that would be blue, blue, or red, red. That means we're going to take our 1875 and our 1875, or our 3/16 and 3/16. That would get me a total of 6/16 is for matching. And then for not matching, we would have this 625 and this 56 because blue and red, red and blue, and that would get me 10 out of 16 is not matching, which does mean that not matching is my more likely scenario. Let me know what questions you've got